A lot of pregnant women start to think about their desires for their labor and delivery experience, and it's a good idea to write them down. This is the definition of a birth plan. Basically, it's a collection of the things that you would like to see happen during your labor and delivery and postpartum experience, and then you can take it to your OB provider at one of your prenatal appointments and talk with them about it. Don't wait until delivery to talk with your doctor about it, because at your prenatal appointment, it's a good opportunity for you to make them aware of the things you're thinking about, and also for them to educate you on things you might not understand or want to know more about. When you come to the hospital and the nurse takes you through the admission process, she'll talk to you about certain things like breastfeeding, your desires for pain control during labor, and skin to skin. We also want to know if you've picked a pediatrician. Above and beyond that, this is a perfect time for us to find out about other desires you might have for your experience. Other more common requests include, like, dad wants to cut the umbilical cord, and if he doesn't, he won't feel a part of the process at all. Some people want a mirror so that when they're pushing, they can see what a good push is and they can see their baby coming out. Some people want to delay cord cutting and clamping of the umbilical cord. Some people also have questions about, like, when your water will be broken or if pitocin is going to be started. And again, this is an opportunity for your nurses to talk to you about the specifics of your situation and give you an understanding of what the goal is during labor and delivery from our perspective, and also pull yours into it. One of the best things you can do as you're formulating your birth plan is to keep an open mind and write down everything that you would love to see happen, but also understand that sometimes changes need to be made in order to accommodate the specifics of your circumstance. Be leery of birth plans that you just print off the internet with a whole bunch of random information on it that you might not even understand or care much about. Like, I've seen the same template brought in multiple times by patients, and it has a whole bunch of I don'ts on it. Like, I don't want an IV, I don't want monitoring, I don't want pitocin, I don't want my water broken, I don't want an epidural, I don't want an episiotomy, I don't want a C-section, I don't want forceps, I don't want antibiotics, and the list goes on and on. And so then as we sit down and talk with the patient about it, and we educate them about why all of those things need to be done, then they're like, oh, okay, well, I understand that that might be necessary. And it makes it not so scary if those things happen to you and those interventions are necessary for the well-being of you and your baby. We want you to have the best experience you can have when you come to the hospital. We want to accommodate all of the requests and goals that you have, but that's plan A. And we all know that life doesn't always go according to plan, and sometimes circumstances arise during labor, and we have to go to plans B, C, or D, and sometimes we can't accommodate all of the requests on the birth plan in order to get a good outcome. For example, I've had patients come in before and say that they don't want pitocin and they don't want an IV, but they come in on their first baby, their water's broken, and from the moment your water breaks, the clock starts ticking and we begin to be concerned about infection. Sometimes we can give you a little bit of leeway and see what happens over the next couple of hours to see if contractions naturally pick up. But if they don't, then we need to start an IV and pitocin to induce labor and get it going. And sometimes we have to give antibiotics down the road to make it so that you and your baby will be protected from infection, and that will decrease the chances of complication. Another example of a modification that might have to be made is one where, like, if you wanted the umbilical cord to not be cut or clamped until it stops pulsating, let's say your baby has meconium. That's where they've had a bowel movement inside, and after delivery it can cause issues with breathing. So let's say that there was meconium and your baby needed to quickly be separated from you so that the newborn ICU team could work on them. That's another example of a time when we might have to go to plan B in order to get a good outcome. So when my patients come in with a birth plan, I always like to sit down with them and go through their birth plan item by item and say, yeah, this is awesome. We can do this pretty much under any circumstance. And then, of course, if there are other things that might have to be modified down the road, I always like to make you aware of when and why that might be necessary, so that if it ends up happening, hopefully you won't be so afraid of it. I've found that a lot of my patients put things on their birth plan because they're afraid of it. Like, I don't want an episiotomy. And yeah, I agree with you. Episiotomies can be scary. But again, under certain circumstances, they are medically necessary. We won't know if you need one until your baby's crowning and the doctor's there and we're ready for delivery. And then sometimes if the baby's heart rate is down and they need to be born quickly, all it would take is just slightly expanding the vaginal opening so they can fit through faster. And that's going to be better for the baby. So again, that's an example of how sometimes it has to be modified. The best thing you can do when developing a birth plan is to keep an open mind and know that, again, there is plan A, but be open to the possibility that things might have to be changed so that you and your baby can be as healthy as possible. That's our goal when you come to the hospital. We want you and your baby to be as healthy as possible. We want you to have the best experience that you can have. Intermountain Healthcare has a birth plan template, and you can visit the website below, print it out, fill it out, and then take it to your OB provider at your next prenatal appointment. This will be a great opportunity for you to discuss your goals for labor and delivery with them, make them known to them, and be educated on things you might not understand much about. If you have questions for me in the future, please feel free to ask them on our Facebook page at facebook.com/IntermountainMoms, and recommend us to your friends and family too.